her dad has said that he didn't know about it and he didn't consent to it. He has said to media, as well as on social media, that he only learned of this really tragic revelation at her funeral when he noticed his daughter's body was different. One senator, he's proposed a new law called Nicole's Law, which basically says that nobody under 18, regardless if there is parental consent or not, should be getting plastic surgery.
Hello, it's Hannah here. Welcome to What in the World, your podcast for the stories that get people talking from the BBC World Service. Today we're going into a case that has shocked Mexico, and it sparked a global conversation about plastic surgery for young people. That's because a 14-year-old girl in Mexico has died, reportedly after having a boob job and some other cosmetic procedures, and her dad has said on social media that he didn't consent to them. And this case has raised big questions about why teenagers are getting plastic surgery done in the first place. So to break it down, here in the studio with me is Mimi Swaby, our global affairs reporter. Hey Mimi.
Hi.
So this is a really tragic story, and I know that investigations are ongoing. Can you walk us through what happened to this girl, Paloma Nicole, and what we know about the circumstances around her death?
Paloma Nicole Arellano Escobedo was 14 when she reportedly died after having multiple cosmetic plastic surgery done. She had, according to media reports, a BBL, breast enlargement surgery, as well as liposuction. And she was allegedly given this plastic surgery as a gift from her mum for her 15th birthday. But the issue here is that her dad has said that he didn't know about it and he didn't consent to it. He has said to media, as well as on social media, that he only learned of this really tragic revelation at her funeral when he noticed his daughter's body was different. But the fact that on her death certificate it says that she died from excess fluid in her brain causing it to swell from a respiratory illness, where her dad has come forward and said he doesn't believe this to be true. He says that she died after complications from this plastic surgery.
People in Mexico have been really angry and upset about this, and I've seen on social media people have been sharing this slogan, Las niñas no necesitan implantes, girls don't need implants, and even the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, she's also commented on it. What kind of reaction have you been seeing?
It's had a huge reaction. People are, very shocked that such a young girl wants to have plastic surgery and she could get plastic surgery. And then it's also raised concerns and questions about the ethics of plastic surgery and regulations in Mexico and why it was allowed to happen in the first place without both parents having consented to it. Claudia Sheinbaum, in one of her morning kind of daily press conferences, came and said, if anything can be done, get the family to get in touch with her and they will look at the case. It's, had a big reaction. And online we're seeing, many beauty influencers, fashion influencers kind of lamenting at the fact that they're seeing it as a really sad case, that social media and the pressures that are put on younger people has come to such an awful outcome in this case.
This is a horrific case, and I wonder how plastic our society has become that 14-year-old girls are undergoing cosmetic surgery to change their bodies. This society teaches girls to hate their bodies even before they finish developing. Aesthetic violence is stealing our girls' childhoods. We are losing girls because they are convinced that looking good and fitting a certain standard is more important than being alive. We are teaching them that changing their bodies matters more than their lives.
And one senator, Mexican Senator Jose Manuel Cruz Castellanos, he's proposed a new law called Nicole's Law, which basically says that nobody under 18, regardless if there is parental consent or not, should be getting plastic surgery. And he's had quite a lot of support for that online as well. This also aims to kind of regulate procedures, so it's not just cosmetic reconstruction. So if you have an accident and your nose is broken, you can put that back together through a nose job. That's not what people are questioning here. It's plastic surgery for cosmetic reasons. So if there's nothing wrong with you medically, but you just want to change how you look, that's where this law would come into place. And that's what he says should be regulated more. There should be more protection for people, and that no under 18 should be having it.
Where does the law stand at the moment? Is it that you can get cosmetic procedures if you're under 18 if you have both parents' consent?
So generally speaking, across Mexico, if you are 18 and above, you don't need your parents' consent to have any cosmetic procedure. But if you're under 18, you do. And both parents should give consent if they both are alive, or both guardians should give consent. However, one of the issues in Mexico, as in many other parts of the world, is that there are many unregulated and unofficial clinics. And this is where the grey area kind of begins. So many younger individuals, it seems, are going to these clinics because it's easily accessible, it's cheaper, and they're not regulated. So there is a governing body association in Mexico which basically trains all the surgeons and certifies them. And you have to have that certification to be a legal practicing plastic surgeon. And without that, you're an unofficial clinic. And that's where dangers can arise. And it all comes down to the surgeon looking at your maturity, both physically and emotionally, but especially your maturity of your body. How fully developed is your body? Like, a girl doesn't fully develop until she's in her late teens. So having something done when you're not fully developed, for example, a boob job, could actually be quite problematic further down the line. You need to let your body develop, according to many surgeons, before interfering with it.
So how common is it for under 18s to have cosmetic procedures done in Mexico? Is it something that we're seeing more of?
It's definitely something we're seeing more of, especially online. It's really hard to quantify how many girls, boys under 18 are getting cosmetic surgery done, because the official data kind of includes everybody. So in Mexico in 2024, there were more than 730,000 cosmetic surgeries. But it's unclear how many were under 18 or how many were over 18. And a large number of over 18-year-olds will have theirs registered, but less minors under 18-year-olds will go through the official channels, because if they don't have parental consent or they don't want people to know, or it's cheaper, they could perhaps be going to an unofficial clinic.
So why do you think more young people are seeking these kinds of procedures?
One quite prominent beauty blogger went to social media sharing her condolences for Paloma Nicole's death, but she said that this wasn't a surprise to her because it's come at a time where social pressures are greater than ever. Cosmetic surgery is easier and more accessible, and it's so much more normalized, as in people will happily flaunt they've had this done and that done, and it's kind of given as a normal in many situations in many countries, and increasingly in Mexico as well, because Mexico is the third most popular country for plastic surgery. So it's had a real boom in the last few years of regulated clinics, but also unregulated clinics.
Are there other cases in Mexico involving under 18s where things have gone wrong? Presumably this isn't the first time that this has happened.
No, this definitely isn't the first time. And we've seen on social media Mexican youth, girls and boys, coming on and sharing their kind of botched plastic surgery. So a nose job that's gone wrong, or lip fillers which have been too big or too excessive, these kind of things. So there's definitely been plastic surgery which hasn't given the results or the finish that people have wanted. But this case has really shocked people because Paloma Nicole died. And that isn't very common. That isn't common for plastic surgery within under 18s as well as over 18. So that is why this case has gained so much momentum, and that we have the slogan that girls don't need implants.
What about advertising? Do you know whether plastic surgery is advertised to under 18s on social media, and if there's any regulation around that?
There doesn't seem to be any fixed regulation, and that is part of the problem. That is why this Nicole's Law has been proposed, to try and regulate it. But social media also has a part to play. If your algorithm is filled with social media procedures or people showing what they've had done, you're likely to keep getting more of that. That's how algorithms work, and it's more normalized. But it doesn't specify the dangers that come with that, or if you're underage.
And zooming out, you said that Mexico is the third biggest country in terms of number of cosmetic procedures that are being carried out. And I'm interested, what's it like in other countries? Is it also legal for under 18s to have plastic surgery done with parental consent elsewhere around the world? How do the laws change?
It's really interesting. Different countries have different laws and different requirements. So largely speaking, many countries say that if you're under 18, you can only have cosmetic surgery with parental consent. But some countries say that, for example, England, if you have cosmetic surgery or Botox or fillers specifically, even if you're under 18, that is against the law. You cannot have them that young. In the US, it is 18 unless parental consent. In some countries, it's higher. In Singapore, you have to be 21. But interestingly, we are seeing a change, that people are perhaps becoming more open to plastic surgery. In Iran in 2025, so this year, one board member of the Iranian Rhinology Society has said Iran has actually lowered the minimum age for cosmetic surgery to 14 for girls.
That's interesting.
And 16 for boys. And they've said this is because of scientific advancements as well as a rise in demand. So there are many different laws for different countries. It's really important to know what the law is in your country, or if you're travelling to a different country, what that law is there.
It's really interesting how the conversation about plastic surgery is changing and how the ages that people are going for these cosmetic procedures are just getting younger. Mimi, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And that's it from us today. Thank you for joining us. You can find us right here on the BBC World Service YouTube channel 5 days a week. And 2 of those episodes, we are chatting away in the studio. So come say hi. I'm Hannah. This is What in the World from the BBC World Service. We'll see you next time.